Hello, welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael and today we're doing a video on two languages, Serbian and Croatian. Now I've done many language comparison videos before, such as the video between French and Spanish, as well as Afrikaans and German, and I've also done a video about Afrikaans where I'm basically saying that it is simply a dialect of Dutch. And today I'm thinking I may have a similar video. Namely, the question being, are Serbian and Croatian simply dialects of the same language? Further, is there any real linguistic difference between Serbian and Croatian that give them the title of being separate languages? Let's find out. To be honest, previous to this video, I really didn't know much about Serbian and Croatian, so let's look at them individually first. Serbian is a language spoken by about 8 million people in the Balkan region. It is the official language of Serbia, Kosovo, and one of the official languages of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Serbian is a Slavic language and it is written in both the Cyrillic and Latin alphabets. But from what I understand, literate speakers are able to read and write in both. Croatian, on the other hand, is a language spoken by about 5.6 million people worldwide, and it is the official language of Croatia, as well as one of the 3 official languages of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Croatian is also a Slavic language, but it is written solely in the Latin script. Among most linguists, Serbian and Croatian are actually regarded as being the same language. That language has been called serbo-croatian, or serbo-croat. Serbo-croatian is also said to incorporate 2 other languages, meaning that Serbo-Croatian is a collection of dialects that include Serbian, Croatian, Montenegrin, and Bosnian. This means that all of these dialects are said to be a single language that are spoken in the Balkan region by about 21 million people. Disregarding Bosnian and Montenegrin, let's look at Serbian and Croatian and see how similar or how dissimilar they actually are. Let's start by looking at them on a linguistic level. In terms of grammar, Serbian has 3 grammatical genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter, 2 grammatical numbers, singular and plural, as well as 7 noun cases. Serbian has a subject, verb, object, word order, and in terms of verbs, it has both perfective and imperfective aspects, something that is common in other Slavic languages, such as Russian. Croatian, on the other hand, has 3 grammatical genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter, 2 grammatical numbers, singular and plural, as well as 7 cases. It also has a subject, verb, object, word order, and both perfective and imperfective aspects. Okay, so on a grammatical level, they seem to be almost identical. But that underlying grammar really is just the bones of the language. Let's go to the surface and actually talk about the words and the sounds of these languages individually. One of the major pronunciation differences between Serbian and Croatian actually leads us back to Old Church Slavonic. This pronunciation difference comes from the Old Church Slavonic letter yat. In Serbian, the yat is pronounced as an A, while it is pronounced as an E in Croatian. This can be seen in the Serbian and Croatian words for flower. In Serbian, the word for flower is svet, whereas in Croatian, it's svijet. This same phonological difference can be seen in the Serbian and Croatian words for light, svetlo in Serbian and svijetlo in Croatian. While there are some other pronunciation differences between Serbian and Croatian, perhaps the most striking difference between the 2 languages, and in fact the difference that proponents of the separate language theory cling to, is the fact that Serbian and Croatian use different vocabulary. This includes common words like air, which is vazduh in Serbian, but zrak in Croatian. And the word garlic in Serbian is beliluk, but in Croatian it is češnjak. Sorry in Serbian is izvini, and oprosti in Croatian. While these examples show how Serbian and Croatian do use different words for common things, these aren't always common occurrences. In fact, they have many more words in common than they do different. And even the words that are seen to be different from each other are actually just dialectal differences between the sounds. For example, we can see this in the word what, which is šta in Serbian and što in Croatian, as well as the word salary, which is plata in Serbian and plaća in Croatian. Pronunciation and vocabulary differences aside, the simple test for figuring out whether two languages are in fact distinct from each other or whether they're just dialects of the same language has to do with their level of mutual intelligibility. As such, let's test that out for Serbian and Croatian. For simplicity's sake, I have used the Serbian Latin alphabet for an easier comparison with Croatian. As you can see on the screen, I have given a sample of the two languages based off of some simple sentences that I created. And if I toggle the settings just a little bit, oh, there we go. You can see that I've underlined every single word that is lexically similar to the other language. This gives us a very, very high lexical similarity, especially in writing. Let's look at another sample. Okay, now let's look at it with the similar words underlined. Okay, not as high, but I'm still thinking it's a pretty high lexical similarity again. Okay, so in writing, these two languages seem to be almost identical. But let's see how similar these languages are in spoken form. Obviously, I don't speak Croatian or Serbian, so I've had to use outside sources to figure out what the spoken level of mutual intelligibility is. But from what I've been able to discover, that level is just as high as the level for written mutual intelligibility. In fact, anecdotal evidence found online, often from Serbian and Croatian speakers, indicates that the level of mutual intelligibility is so high that these speakers have no issues understanding one another, and any hiccups in conversations can be solved through further discussion or explanation. Further, according to one study by Robert Lindsay, upon collecting data from native Serbian and Croatian speakers about the perceived levels of mutual intelligibility, as well as the observed mutual intelligibility through audio and written samples, it is estimated that the languages have a mutual intelligibility as high as 97% in spoken form, meaning that the two languages are so similar that they are not actually separate languages at all. So, the question remains, if the mutual intelligibility between the languages is so high, why are these two regarded as separate languages? Well, primarily the reason is politics. We know, and I have previously observed through other videos posted on this channel, that language is strongly tied to identity. After the fall of Yugoslavia, different groups of people in the former Yugoslavian state clung to their languages and their way of life as a way to forge a new path forward as independent countries. That means that the Serbs established their dialect, Serbian, as their official language, while the Croats established their dialect, Croatian, as their official language. By doing this, these two groups of people were able to distinguish themselves as their own identity, as well as sow unity within their own countries. Besides, this isn't necessarily nefarious, and this is hardly something new between people trying to establish themselves as their own cultural or national identity. Just look at Scandinavia. We have Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish, which are essentially the same language, but they are treated as different languages simply because they are associated with different countries. The same goes for Afrikaans and Dutch. Afrikaans really is just a dialect of Dutch, but it is spoken in South Africa, so it has a different national identity. So that said, are Serbian and Croatian different languages? Well, the answer is yes, and it's no. If you look at it from a simply linguistic point of view, Serbian and Croatian are the same language because they have a very high level of mutual intelligibility. However, if you look at it from a political point of view, then no, these languages are not the same language. They are separate languages because they are associated with different countries. A language is just a dialect with an army and a navy after all, isn't it? Okay, if you have any thoughts on whether or not Serbian and Croatian are distinct languages, leave me a comment below. I also have social media accounts. You can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as usual, thank you for watching the Polyglot Files, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!